Hello, Jannette.
Hiya, you alright?
Hi, love. Do you like it? Do you like my choice of music?
Yeah, lovely, thank you, Jen. You okay?
I'm fine, thank you.
Hiya, Carol.
Good. I'm just trying to screen share so I could look at it on a big screen.
I'm going to turn mine round as well.
Oh, hang on.
Way or the other way?
How do I screen share on? Not screen share. How do I get my big screen on here? Settings.
A bit better.
So how's everybody on this lovely Saturday morning? Saturday afternoon?
Ah, there it is.
Wow! Saturday morning, I wish it was.
Jen, I'm upside down as well, honey, don't worry.
Are you upside down? Okay.
No, not the viewing. I mean, you know.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
This, what do you call it? Disorientated.
That's right. I'm in Australia.
Oh, gosh. I wish I was in the Caribbean.
Oh, gosh. The weather's been nice, though.
It's been okay, you know. It's been just a bit windy today, you know.
And yesterday,
Yes. Hopefully, they said next week. The next week should be a lot better. Position myself. So, how's your day been so far, Jannette?
Well, as usual, crammed in.
Okay.
I try to get my calls all settled.
I'm just gonna exit and come back in again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No
okay.
problem.
No problem.
Yeah, Jen, I just try to get all my clients settled, because what happens, even if I'm off work, they try calling me. So what I don't want is to be called, you know, during this, and little messages coming up and I'm distracted. You know what I mean?
So it's like a home call system in
That's it.
emergencies. Okay.
Well, I turned that off anyway. I said
Okay.
no. And at 4:00 I had a podcast to do as well, so I've just finished that one too.
Okay.
Yeah, that type of week really, but good, productive and proactive.
Hey, do you know something? That is the main thing, because it could have been the other way around.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so sometimes you have to give thanks, you know, for the simple things. Yeah.
All the time.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I've got someone else is trying to get
Good
to
evening, Paulette. How are you?
Hi.
Hey. Oh, hi, Dee. Yes.
Hi, sweetie.
Oh, hi, Dee. You okay?
Yeah, I'm early.
No, you're okay.
Yeah. I'm kind of cooking and what have you. So I thought, let me just log on so I'm in. I might come off because I'm just juggling, but yeah, super excited.
Yeah, I think we're all doing our Saturday cooking. You know, I had to turn my pot off.
Yeah, no bother burn it.
Oh gosh, I had to turn it off. I fancied a bit of stew peas and rice today. It's been a long time since.
Amanda! I just saw my niece.
Hello, Amanda.
You'll probably want to stay quiet. A lot of my family, Jen, will probably come on, but stay quiet, you know, and not go on audio.
Okay.
Kind of shy like that. But they'll be hovering with intent, you know?
Yes, no problem. That's the advantage about the Zoom. You've got a choice.
Yeah.
Although I like to visually see people.
yeah, you know. Oh, that's
we're so good. We'll be starting very soon. Just give it a couple of minutes.
Life is all about now.
Yeah. So how's everybody's Saturday? Amanda, how's your Saturday been so far?
Yes,
Amanda, how's your Saturday been?
Good, if you can hear me.
I can, yes.
I can hear you, Amanda, yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. It's been productive.
Amanda's always productive.
Oh,
she's a serious businesswoman, you know. Serious businesswoman. Her son does boxing, and she teaches people athletic pole dancing.
Oh my God! Wow.
Seriously fit.
I think I need to do a lot of stretching first before I even tackle that.
Yeah, she's like an elastic band.
And you know something? That is brilliant, because I think
we're talking about you. That ain't about you.
I just think we all need to be flexy in some kind of way anyway.
That's right.
So you know, after the lockdown, you know, I'll get back into it again. So V, welcome V. Are you okay? Can you hear clear?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Thank you.
Yeah, brilliant.
Oh, hi, yes, she's got her headphones on. She'll hear clearly.
Yeah, okay. We're just doing general, you know, just waiting for just a few more people to join us. This is going to be a dual hosting. I'm waiting for Ricky to come on. So while we're waiting, has anybody got anything positive that's happening this week? Well, next week, you could say. Any promotions or?
Dee, come on, Dee. Dee's got enough promotions, enough things.
This is not my, but no.
No, this is a time.
You know what? I'm grateful, hand on heart, I'm grateful right now. My family and everybody is doing well. So that is always a good start. And we'll talk, if we get a chance later on, about what I'm doing. I'll post it in the link. I'll post it in the thread.
Yes,
please.
I will.
This is BAME. This is the BAME group. So, you know, it's all about promoting and getting together, collaborating, no competition.
That's
you know,
that
type of thing. And I know as a sister, you're well into that.
Yes, definitely.
Are you on the WhatsApp group, Dee? You're not.
WhatsApp group?
You're not on our. Okay, not a problem. I think Jannette will entice you.
Yeah,
that's fine.
And you'll see all the benefits as well. You see, the main purpose of today, obviously, the main focus is Jannette. and we'll be doing this every week. You know, yeah, we will. We'll be highlighting, showcasing an entrepreneur, and giving them the platform to let us know, you know, what they're about. Next week we have Carol Edmondson. She's in the far left hand side.
See you there.
Okay.
Hi, Carol.
This one, Jannette, is our first one.
I'm the guinea pig.
Yes. Don't do that, Jannette, don't do that. But it's only because of the lockdown. What we would normally do is have 6 weekly meetings, network events, you know, where we would have speakers and they would be showcasing their product and services. So we have to do this for now, you know. Okay, let me just see if I can get.
The great thing about this is you're reaching an even wider audience, aren't you?
Yes, definitely. I mean, unfortunately, obviously, it's very sad with what's happened to our loved ones, you know, but in a sense, the Zoom has been quite positive in terms of engaging.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm putting you on loudspeaker. Just 2 seconds. Yes, you're on loudspeaker. Okay. Okay, call me when you're ready. Okay.
I've been trying to reach you, but there's no listed.
Yeah, so that's what we're here for. Just to showcase individuals' businesses. Yes, you know, I am aware we've all got our own networks and we all promote our services individually, you know, via platforms, Facebook, you know, LinkedIn and so forth. But this is another one, all right? And in particular, it's for the BAME community, you know. So I know that you may see predominantly Black people on the Zoom, but we're not excluding any of the minorities.
No.
It's just a case of we just all have to try to get them involved, okay, so they can be part of what our aims and objectives are. Okay, right. First and foremost, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Jennifer McIntosh. I'm the founder and the chair of BAME. BAME has been going for about 18 months now, and it's growing, it's becoming more successful. The recognition is just out of this world, you know. We have got members and interest abroad, America, Africa, you know, France and various other parts of the world. And, you know, with yourselves. I'm just going on to this chat now. Are you okay, Marie?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, so that's, you know, so the aim of BAME is to engage with the BAME community, okay, to showcase what you do best, which is your business, to promote your services and to reach out to a wider audience. We know that it's difficult to get to that next level when it comes to business on a whole. And that's the main reason why I decided to work on this project. I realised it's a service that was well needed, in particular in the West Midlands, but realising it's more national, on a national level as well. So our main aims and objectives is to, you know, just to ensure that your business grows and to use all the platforms, social media platforms, to promote your services. We have got various elements of BAME, in which I'll go into that as we go along. So today is one of our other new initiatives. We've got quite a few things going on. So this is a new one. And this is really triggered off from the fact that you are paid members. Some of you are paid members, and we like to give you value for money, okay? Membership is £50 for the year. And after doing research, we realized that a lot of organizations, in particular, you know, the white businesses, you could say, they charge a lot more, and you really don't get as much as what we offer. Can you vouch on that, Carol, in terms of what we do? Can you unmute, Carol?
Yes, Carol there. Don't forget Carol, because she was popping out for a bit and then she was coming back, didn't she?
Yes. Oh, yes, yes, yes. She's there now. Okay.
And
So
if everyone else can mute while you're talking, Jen,
yes,
it might be easier because there's a lot of background noise.
That's right. Yes. Thank you, Jannette. Yeah, if you can mute, and if you do need to say anything, just basically just
put your hand up.
Just put your hand up, and then you can unmute yourself. Okay. I mean, later on, if there's any questions, you can ask any of our members. Yeah. Well, the main purpose today is to introduce Jannette, and I'm going to ask her a few questions. Some questions that some of us have been, you know, yearning to ask, but without giving that opportunity. Okay. I'd just like to remind you that this will be recorded. We tend to record our meetings, especially meetings of this nature, so we can actually spread it and to the wider audience as well. Okay. Right. Jannette, it's all about you.
Okay.
Right? And I just got a few questions to ask Jannette, and then there's going to be just a break. If anybody's got any questions, they need to ask her. And you know, please, Jannette, you know, obviously you're a very straight and very frank person, and you know, and that's what this is all about. A lot of things coming up, so I'm hoping that you'll be mentioning this, you know, during the course of this, this event. Right. Why did you choose to join BAME? Now, sometimes I'm curious because we've got roughly over 200 members, and people join for various reasons. But for yourself, could you just explain why you chose to join BAME?
Well, first of all, it was just the initial slogan, BAME, before I knew what it represented, because I do know that Black and minority ethnic groups, but we're not minority, we're underrepresented. So that was the initial attraction. And then when I was invited and I came and I realized that it was business and momentum enterprise, the momentum bit is what got me, because I do know that there's lots of small businesses and sole traders that are on their own but cannot push their business. So I was interested in the momentum side of it, and also the camaraderie, because when you look, I grew up at a time when there was a lot of camaraderie and partnering, doing partner schemes and things like that. And we were a natural village. So I was attracted to find that again. I haven't joined groups without feeling that there's something in it of a unity and a camaraderie. And BAME has it. That's why I stayed.
Okay, fantastic. I'm hoping that a lot of people stayed for that same reason. Yeah. But for those who are not familiar, just like what Jannette said, BAME is it's an acronym for Black, Asian, Minority, Ethnic, which is the government's terminology of, you could say, putting minority people in one pot. Okay, that's the only way I could describe that. So it's not something that a lot of our members are happy with, that terminology, but that's just the acronym. So just to boost up the terminology, it's actually business, action, momentum, enterprise. So it's a bit of a dual barrel. So yes, we've got an element of people like yourself, Jannette, who joined for the business, action, momentum element, more so than the Black, Asian, minority, ethnic. But like I said at the beginning, that's not excluded. Okay. So are you happy where you are now in terms of, you know, some of the interactions you've had through BAME and some of the people?
Definitely.
Some of the network, yes.
Definitely. I dipped in and out, you know, I dipped my big toe in and out of different groups, but I found that a lot of groups are self-driven rather than collaboration-driven and competition-driven as well. And that just leaves a nasty taste in my mouth. But with BAME, I've never found that. Everybody's helping each other. Everybody's buying each other's products. Everybody's coming to each other's thing. Everybody's interacting with each other on the different platforms within BAME. And that's how it should be.
Yeah.
That's the only way we're going to get forward. That's the only way we're going to build back up our trust.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, competition is one of the disadvantages of a lot of Black businesses. We're a minority, obviously, in a country where there's a majority of another race, and we shouldn't really be in competition with each other. What we should be doing is boosting each other's confidence and supporting the businesses.
Absolutely.
And that's what BAME is about. Initially, it was recognised by the local authority in terms of lack of representation. Okay, so that was a trigger in forming BAME, because we do need to represent. We do need to show, especially the young people, that you know that Black business can work and it can be successful. So this is a starting point. Okay, so I totally agree with your statement on that. Okay. Now, during the course of speaking to Jannette, you know, she might say something that somebody wants to respond. So please, if you want to respond to anything that Jannette said, just put your hand up and unmute, and then she'll answer your questions. Okay.
Best I can.
Because this is actually interactive, you know, because obviously you've all joined Zoom meetings where, you know, it's just basically talk, you know, coming from one person. So we do want it to be interactive. So if anybody wants to say anything, feel free to say that. Okay.
Thank you.
Right. So you do quite a lot of things, Jannette. The short time I've known you, which I think is more or less 18 months or so. Me personally, I can't really keep up with you because I'm a bit confused. And sorry, when I say confused,
that's all right.
I haven't had that opportunity to say, sit down, Jannette. What exactly do you do? You know, what are you about? So I know you've got a few strings, you know, under your sleeve, and I know one of the things that you do, you're an author. Okay.
Yes.
So
yes.
I'm not sure how many books you've written, but you know, why did you become an author? You know, what was the trigger in you becoming an author?
Trigger, that's a really good word to use, because it was all about triggers in my life. Because the books that I've written, it's not like fiction or anything like that, or something that I made up that's just come out of the air. It's my autobiography, and I've written 2 books, but it's 4 parts within the 2 books. The first book is called They Never Saw Me, Triumphant Through My Early Years. And the second book is I Don't Know Who I Am. So 2 very strong titles, They Never Saw Me and I Don't Know Who I Am. And it's because for the first 30 years of my life, there was a lot of trauma and a lot of confusion that I had to sift through. And writing over the years was something that I had to do over and over again, because I'm actually dyslexic with dyscalculia. So mathematics as well as literature was very confusing to me. But not because I didn't study well, because I studied really well and really hard because I passed my 11 plus. Wow, but it was because I was taken out of a lot of my classes because of having an autistic sister, so which I had to look after, because we actually shared the same year. So becoming an author was my way of escapism and coming to terms with all the what-haves, maybes and should-have beens in my life. I mean, just trying to unscramble everything and put it down so that I can read it back to me when I get a bit lost. And that's basically the main reason.
I mean, and also, I think being an author, I can imagine that it's quite therapeutic. It's like you're doing a self-help.
Definitely.
Releasing some of your, you know, some of your past, you know, letting the world know what you've been through.
Thank you. It was, Jennifer, and the main reason behind that as well, because I'm a retired psychiatric nurse, and being out in the community as a mental freelance practitioner, mental health freelance practitioner, I need my own resources to fall back on when I'm absorbing everybody else's trauma. I mean, where do I go?
Yeah.
You know, I need my mindset to be stable enough and plateaued that I can handle everybody else's, as well as continuing to grow within my own and handle that. On that, I write a lot of poetry, and for this specific week, which I've shared already with a couple of platforms, I have a poem that I would like to share with you all based on that type of thing.
Okay, I mean, you feel free.
Yeah, it's called Loneliness Heats My PTSDs. Okay.
Yeah.
I can be in a crowd and have a multitude of family. Think I'm okay, but I have that hidden enemy. Mental health and loneliness has no partiality. Look at the celebrities, now that's the reality. Money like running water. But that didn't alter the fact that they went a little crazy. You see, it's like the ripple from the pebble in the river, starting tiny, but getting bigger and bigger, wider and wider, driving us further and further from our reality. And that's the tragedy, because our mental health and loneliness is something we tend to hide. And because we hide it, we sometimes collide with it. My PTSDs had me on my knees saying, forgive me, please, to my families. But then the pills and booze that I promised to lose, when I'm forced to choose, took me off that snooze button. And then I was rotten and erratic, which brought on even more panic. Things I said, things I'd done, when all I wanted to do was run, run, run. But we can't do that. No one can get away from the contents of their own head when they lay down in their own bed, if they have one. So we block it instead. A drink, a blade, a fix, or a cocktail of pills we made. It don't matter as long as we get into that shade of nothingness. When our head falls back and our eyes roll shut. All is well, but just for a bit. We're out of that rut. Mental health and loneliness has no partiality, and that's the reality. Is that your reality? Because it's okay to not be okay.
Oh,
It's very good.
Fantastic. Brilliant.
Yeah.
So you have got a natural, very natural talent, and you spoke from the heart. You could actually feel the passion,
Definitely.
you know. So, and I've seen you perform, and I think others as well. And I find you very inspirational.
Thank you.
In what you do. Okay. So you have got that natural gift. I mean, hence that triggered you to write the book about yourself.
Yes.
You know, so I know your book was based on personal situations that you encountered. Could you tell me a bit more about the book? Is it just based on that, or is there other elements about the book that you've written?
It is pure fact of my 30 years, pure and simple. But in order to deliver it, I had to give the book light and shade. Just as I perform poetry, everything in the book, everything in this poem that I just read, that I wrote, I know. I've lived it, tasted it, smelt it. Everything in the book is true life. But like I said, you have to be careful when dealing with people, because you can give out material. What comes out of your mouth, you must be ready for the critique of it. You know, you have to be prepared to take the ricochet and brace yourself. So on airing my laundry in a downwind in that book, I had to be prepared for what my family's own feedback would be. So by writing the book, although it's all factual, I had to change my family's names, for instance, and change slightly some timings within it. But it is all definitely true. But what I tend to do, I find that when I'm doing things that are trigger made, I change it into poetry, just like the poem I just read. So within the book, traumatic periods, I put it into poetry and also into song. Okay. So I have songs and things that I've written over the years, songs that I've written for the musical play, which should have been today.
Yes, that's right.
It should have been today, yeah. But obviously it's changed now to the 10th of October, which is World Mental Health Awareness Day. Okay. So I'm hoping that goes ahead. But yeah, different parts of the book I've made into song as well for that play. So that's the way I deliver something, because it's a little softer. The message is there, it's direct, but it's a little softer.
Okay.
So that's the way a trained psychiatrist delivers things in ways that the person can take on board and dissect themselves without flipping and going crazy. So I'm very mindful of that. Yeah.
So what would you advise for any budding authors on this platform? You know, people who has had a passion to actually write their own book, but they haven't got the confidence. So what would you advise the first thing for them to do?
Well, first of all, I would say, how easy do you talk to people?
Okay.
Are you a sociable person? Do you find it easy to speak to people? Because that's your story already. You've gone somewhere, had an event, you've met with a girlfriend, you're speaking to your colleagues at work. How fluid and confident are you at speaking with somebody else about anything or something that's happened? That's your book.
Okay.
Because when you can speak like that, when you can deliver something that is lifelike and passionate and drives you, then that's your book, because you can be descriptive and colourful and fluent within it. And that's how you have to draw your reader into your book so that they walk with you. So if you're naturally like that, you can write your book quite easily. And if I, as a dyslexic, can write a book, 2 books with 4 parts in it, then anybody can, because you can write it, but then your publisher, it's their job to edit it, to format it, and to create it into a readable book. Okay. You just have to tell the story. So it's not as difficult as some people may envisage. And if you can put it into a dictaphone or record it when you've got that flow going, all the better. Do that and then type it out afterwards. Okay. That's the way to go.
Well, it may be an idea after the lockdown to offer training sessions.
Yeah, I'm sure.
For those who may be interested in becoming, an author.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people during this lockdown have actually done a lot of things, because you find that there's so much things that people all of a sudden finding their creativity, whether it's cooking, painting, gardening, dressmaking. How many people have made masks and heads?
Oh, of course, yeah. Every other person.
Because there's been
promoting their mask, yeah.
Because there's been time, people have been finding their hidden talents that have always been there, always been an idea. But because they've had the time, they've actually brought it to fruition and created something. And there's lots of people out there now who are really excited about what they've discovered within themselves. And that's beautiful.
Okay, so I'm going to bring this to the forum now. Has anybody got any questions to ask Jannette about the poetry and also about the book that she's written? Some of the questions that you've been dying to ask her, and this is your opportunity. Okay. V, yes?
Yes, you mentioned that you had to change certain names and time frames in the book
Yeah.
to protect, was that specifically to protect your family members, as you kind of alluded to. And if you had to protect them, what were you protecting them from?
Okay, very good questions. Wasn't just protection of my family, because I actually the main people that went through certain things that I went through, I discussed writing the book with them first and foremost, and I had the backing. But I found that when I used my family's name in the book, I cried, because it put me more there. So when I changed the names and changed the time slightly, it took me out of it, but still in it, so that I could continue to put the words down on the paper. If you get what I mean? It slightly divorced me. It kept me grounded enough to get it out without breaking up. So it was a two-way thing. But I do have my family's backing on it, and they came to the book launches and everything else. So that was important to me.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you.
Well,
any more questions for Jannette?
Everybody's shy.
I know. This is the time now to ask her any questions.
I do lots of other things as well.
Okay, yeah, we'll go into that. Paulette, have you got any questions for Jannette?
Yes, I find that I write a lot in my own handwriting, but I never get round to typing it. Although I am an experienced typist, but that sort of time to sort of type what I've written. So I find I've got lots of notebooks with writing things I've written over the years, but I never get round to typing it up.
Well,
I know that I think there's some apps. I've downloaded an app that you can dictaphone sort of thing, but I still never really got round to I started, and then other things come in the way, and then it stops, and then I start writing. Like during this lockdown, I've started writing, but when I'll ever get round to ever typing it, and my writing's very scruffy, so it would be hard to read.
Okay. That's an example there, Jannette.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mine is terrible. Mine is terrible. But yeah, I mean, as long as you can understand your own writing, you can read it back into the dictaphone, and then it can start to transfer to the computer or the tablet or anything like that. And who says you've got a timeline? Your book can take 5 years. I know people have been writing bits and bobs for 13 years.
I see, yeah.
You know, so if you don't put pressure on yourself that I want to get it out by such and such, as it comes to you and it flows from you, if you say, I'm going to do a chapter a week, you know, break it down into small fragments that is manageable. Don't let it overtake you, because you want to enjoy your writing. You know, you want it to be a full experience. And it sounds to me that you've been doing it a lot, so you are feeling it. But just dissect it into smaller portions, so that you're not thinking that, oh, I've got that and I've put it to one side. You haven't put it to one side at all, because if you keep coming back to it and you keep writing, it's not to one side. It's at the forefront of your mind. But maybe work, children, the ordinary things in life are taking precedence. But it's not at the wayside, because you've just said you want to do it, and if the want is there, you will get there.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
There's a question on the chat from Malika. Do you feel a sense of fulfillment having written your books?
Man, oh yeah. Oh yeah. You know, as a dyslexic, to finish something and to have it approved is a magnificent feeling. And that's just for you. If the teacher wrote 85% out of 100 for me, I was ecstatic. Passing my 11 plus nearly drove me crazy. But to have my own life story interesting enough for a publisher to say, this should be published, I'm fulfilled, all right. Fulfilled enough to want to put it out there and bring it into a play. That's how I feel about it. So thank you for that.
Okay. Any more questions? Marcia? Marcia, can you just unmute?
Hi, Jannette. Very interesting. I was just wondering, how long did it actually take you to write your book?
3 years.
And is that from the initial idea to completing it and getting it published?
Oh no. The initial idea has been manifesting for a couple of decades. But to put the book into a manuscript, because I did the 2 books, the 4 parts, all in one go, and I just shoved it in my publisher's face to unscramble. So it was a huge thing that she had to, oh my goodness, this dyslexic writing back, forwards and all over the place. But I sat down with her and I let it come out, and then she drew out the essence of it too, to make it readable. Because when you're flowing in something, you tend to babble and rant. So she had to slow me down and draw out the facets of it, and then say, Jannette, I think you mean this, don't you? And I says, well, didn't I say that? I didn't say it to her, but in my head, that's how I said it.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, it was 3 years, 3 years in the making.
Wow.
Okay.
It's interesting you saying that, you know, it can take as long as, because I started writing a book about 8 years ago, and I think it's just been parked. And I thought, each time I say, Marty, I need to pick that up and carry on with it. And I suppose it's just getting that inspiration and that drive to say, right, now I know. Because I feel I've come to a crossroad. Not so much a crossroad, to a block. And it's, do I want to say this or do I want to say that? Or where should I go? And I thought, rather than pondering, just leave it. And hopefully, naturally, it will just start flowing.
Well, can I give you a tip? When you come to what we call writer's block, right? Pick out what one word that is blocking you. So you wanted to describe something to do with your garden, and you pick out the one word grass. So around grass, you've got green, you've got long, you've got thin, you've got shoots, you've got borders, so you've got all those other words around it. And then you've got a description, and then you've got depth, and then you've got the smell. Then you've got, you see, it grows and grows. And before you know it, you've started writing again, because you've got descriptive again, and you've got that feeling again, and you've got that bounce. So when you come to a block, what am I trying to say about this? Pick out one word and then grow around that word. And before you know it, you're off again. And it might come in the middle of the night, switch the light on and just write that one paragraph. And then in the morning, you'll go back to that one paragraph. It's like trying to get back into a dream. And then you'll be like, oh yeah, I remember. And then you'll go. But like I said to the other person, small bits, read them back, elongate them, describe them, grow them, feel them, and you'll get there.
I would like to, it's probably worth, you know, back to Paulette, you know, on my phone, I've got the notes. So if I've got an idea, I just put it in there. I could be on the train, I could be walking, I just put it in there. So my notes on my iPhone is where you know, so I've got a book coming up in that sense. Right, Carol, is anybody else waiting to ask any questions in the chat?
No, but I've got a question.
Okay.
Yes, Carol.
Now,
Carol. Yes.
How do you get to choosing a publisher? Because you've talked about your publisher. You know, you worked well with your publisher, but anyone who's thinking of writing and they're almost there, how do they go about finding a publisher that they can work with?
First and foremost, I think you must think of the audience. Who do you want your book to reach? So if you want it to be international, worldwide, and so on and so forth, then you can, it doesn't really matter which publisher you get, because already you've got that big mind's eye, right? And you're ready for the world. But if you've got a target audience, I had a target audience. I'm born and brought up in Handsworth. I wanted to reach the BAME community because my book has a lot to do with cultural silences, the Asian and Black that go through that. I wanted to reach them. So I thought, okay, I want a Black or Asian publisher. And then once that was in my mind, I started looking. And then I came across Marcia M. Spence Publishing House from Wolverhampton. And I knew of her winning certain things. And I thought, now, can I work with her? Would it be too much? Would my type of book be something she wants to do? Or does she just do fiction? So then I had to research and ask, and I met her in Greg's and we chatted, and then it was boom. She was, your book sounds meaty. Send me the manuscript. And then we went on from there. So I think you have to think what your audience is and where you want your book to be and all those things first, and then you can find your publisher. And there's lots of publishers on Fiverr and things like that if you want to have a look. So yeah, okay. Think where you want to go first before you choose.
Okay, so to move on slightly, so you say you also do acting. Okay, obviously amongst other things. So where have you performed, and how long have you been an actor, an actress?
Well, yeah, my first bit of acting was a lot of dance sketch performances when I was a lot younger. I did performances on Pebble Mill. Do you remember the old Pebble Mill?
Yes, I do.
That one. Some of you will and some of you won't.
Yes, I do remember.
But my real star-struck performance was in Taming of the Shrew with Judi Dench before she was a dame. And that was absolutely magnificent. That sort of hooked me. And I thought I was going to go all the way, because Judi Dench said to me, little me, you've got something. That's all she said. You've got something. And it was like the king, the queen, God saying they approved of me. And that was enough. But life came, children came, different things came, and you find your priorities. But I kept the acting thing going because I was also on a program called Lifeline on TV. It used to come on TV.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, Lifeline. And I've also done lots of theatre type things, which is something that I love because I like that kind of live performance where you get the energy of the audience. I've worked with Gazebo Theatre Company, with Tonya Daly Campbell, thankfully. So I've done things like that. And also, of course, I do my one-woman show as well. Before you lot knew me, I was kind of doing it. Because I've only been on Facebook for 3 years now, so it's not that long. So, but I have been doing it in small groups, churches and different theatres and things like that before you all knew me. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but can you give us an example of your acting skills?
Well, it'd be difficult to sort of act in there. Well, because my play should have been today, I could sort of do a few things from the play as a taster. Because I said to some people I'll be doing something from the play as a taster, because the play itself, with my life, and the play is called Joseph versus Barrett. Now, Joseph was my maiden name, so I've got my adult self going back in time to speak to the child, and to nurture the child, and also to say to the child, the adult is saying, I'm sorry I treated you this way, and this shouldn't have been done, and look at you now, type of thing. And I'm being judged in that. That's why it says the case of Joseph versus Barrett. I'm being judged by Judge Jajira, who's God Almighty, of course. But the setting starts off with me sleeping. So I don't know if any of you ever had sleep paralysis. where your mind wakes up before your body. It's a strange feeling, and you have hallucinations. You think you're doing something. You think you've gone and made a cup of tea. You think you've done, and it's so very, very lifelike, but you're actually still in bed. Okay. So with this thing, I don't really know what's going on. I think I'm sleeping, but I'm not sleeping, and then I'm not sleeping, but I am. So the play is all about that. But as I describe things in my life, I have a song to follow each description. So what I can do, I can remember which type of songs I could sing. I sing one because I come from a family of 7. I'm the 6th out of 7. And in the book, I name my family as Desmond, Martha, Sheila, Jenna, Sarah, myself, and Pam. So this is one of the songs that's in it where things started to fragment in the family, and this is depicted on stage as a scene. Daddy's in the kitchen, Mama's doing stitching, we're sitting on the settee simply watching the telly. Are they pretending? Is the marriage ending? Will they wait until I'm grown? 'Cause I don't know. Will they wait until I'm grown? No, I don't know. Will they wait until I'm grown? No, I don't know. Will they wait until I'm grown? No, I don't know. I don't know. Oh, bro's left the Navy, his girls had their baby. Sheila's going steady, 'cause Martha is already. Confusion's occurring, divisions and stirring. And I'm just tired of hearing no. Well, I was right, because Dad's is living on his own. He's sick and all alone. I potter about and I scream and I shout. Mom's riddled with cancer, our lives a disaster. We're all separated, I'm torn but obligated. Should I stay or run away? Where to go? I do not know. Scream and shout or shut my mouth. What's my life all about? Well, I don't know. Should I stay or should I go? No, I don't know. Which way will I go? No, I don't know. They didn't wait until I grow. No, I don't know. I don't know. Oh!
Oh, okay. Fantastic.
It's difficult to do because it's being acted, so yes. And I'm pointing to people at the same time, but okay. that's one of them.
Well, a woman of many talents, as I mentioned earlier.
So, I sing in different genres, so there's different songs. I sing operatically and I sing jazz and blues, so there's different types that I do in the play, but yeah.
Okay. So in terms of the music, what would you recommend in terms of your music? I mean, can you purchase the music that you actually produce?
Well, lots of people. This is the thing. I do a lot of songs. I've sang with people, and they're always saying I must do some kind of album. But the only singing and things that are out there is the things that I've done in church. Okay. And at the moment it's staying there, because if you put something out there, an album, Spotify, or whatever you want to do, people want the next one, and then you have to be prepared to go and promote it, to sing it there, to be interviewed on radio, interviewed on TV, go to this place, go to that place, go to London, go wherever. At this period in time, I'm devoted to my clients. And I'm the kind of person that once I start with a client, it's all the way. I take them all the way until I feel that they are okay to be left. So if I was to get deep into that, I believe it has to be a tunnel vision thing. And I'm in far too many different things. Yeah. And I don't like something like that. I don't believe it should be watered down. Because once you put something out there and then it gets a little bit stale, it's long time, I've heard that person for a long time, and then you're forgotten. So if you're going to go on that, you need to say, okay, I've got to give 3 years to that. Right now, it ain't going to happen. But it will. But it will, because I have people in the pipeline that have already said to me, when you're ready, we're here. So.
Well, you'll have to just continue doing your performances after the lockdown.
Yeah.
so we can actually see what's going on. Any questions so far? Carol, can you see any questions in the chat?
No, just some comments.
Okay.
Favourable comments, brilliant and well done.
Okay,
yeah.
fantastic.
But I know, having met you at the BAME events, that's where I first met you, Jannette, I know, and you have got such an amazing heart for charitable work. You blow me away. I don't know how you fit all these things in, looking after your the patients that you, or clients that you devote yourself to. I mean, Jannette's hours are horrendous. I mean, they are horrendous. You know, God is the one who gives her strength, because I certainly don't know where it comes from. Yeah. But yeah, I just love your heart.
Yeah. Jehovah Jireh, my dear. Jehovah Jireh.
Okay.
That's
okay.
That's it.
Okay.
To him be the glory.
That leads on to something totally different. I mean, back to your work. Obviously, you know, you did mention you work in the mental health field. It is Mental Health Week. I think it ends next week, I think. So
finishing tomorrow.
Yes. So could you just explain why you chose that profession? And was that triggered on by any history in terms of yourself or other people that you know?
Yeah, that's there. You put another word again. First one you use trigger, another one now you've used history. Mental ill health is my history. End of. You know, from the age of just over 2, I've experienced different types of trauma. So if you've got children or grandchildren, 2 is the terrible 2s.
Okay.
That's when a 2-year-old is ready to start being independent, you know, just that independent streak starts to come in. So there's that tug of war. So imagine a 2-year-old being in charge of a 1-year-old with autism.
Wow. Challenging.
Okay. And then continuing to be in charge through school, because my sister was in the same year as me. So your school years are the years where you learn and grow and find your personality.
Okay.
So I am in charge of my autistic sister, while I am trying to find me, while I am trying to grow, while I am trying to deal with a father that was born in 1909, that served in the American Navy, that went through horrific Americanized racism, that he tried to educate us in by providing us with the tools for 100% resilience and 100% independence. I'm going through all of that. However, I have no comparisons to know whether it's right or wrong. So when I did become old enough to start wanting to find out, why was my life like this? Why is my brain full of several personalities talking to me all at the same time? What is wrong with my head? I had to go and study as a psychiatric nurse. That's the only thing that interested me. I wanted to know what on earth is wrong with my brain. No, it's not like everybody else's. Because why am I getting these voices all the time? They're there, and then sometimes they're there in front of me as a thing that I can see and touch, and I'm arguing with them. But I'm trying to not let anybody see, because no one else is doing it. So I needed to find out why. So I studied that. And from that, I wanted to help other people not get as confused and as scrambled as me and start doing the most bizarre, erratic things that got people frightened. Okay. So that's my way of getting into that field. And my way of grounding myself within that is to kickbox, to run, to do all different kinds of adrenaline things, along with my hours upon hours of working in marathons, abseiling, climbing mountains, triathlons, anything that I can get out.
Yeah.
That's my grounding. And at the same time, I can walk barefoot in the forest and be at total peace. But the thing is, I don't know when it's coming. Okay. So in order to prevent it from coming, I have to continue with these things to keep me on a plateau, to keep me prepared to handle other people's things as well as my own.
Do you think it's healthy to have external support from other agencies? You know, because you're supporting others who's going through something quite similar to yourself.
Yeah.
But then there's a lot of agencies out there that would help you do what you do. Have you tapped into any of them?
Yeah, I've got my special counsellor, right? I've got my one person, and I've got a very solid husband. Very solid husband. He really is the water to my fire, you know, and I've been with him for 30 years, so you know, that's a grounding for me. He's also the 6 out of 7 child as well, so that's another thing. And we met at school.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, it's something solid there, and he totally understands me. So I have it in-house and I have it out-house when I need that, and I only have to send a little text, right, with a hand up, a sort of hand up, and you know, okay, she's reaching out. I don't have to say anything. And then this person would phone me, not say anything, and just let me rant. And then they will put a thumb up like that. No words, just a thumb up like that, right? As if to say, am I okay? And if I'm still doing this, they'll let me carry on some more. until it's come out. Until it's come out, you know.
So what advice would you have? I mean, we are in Mental Health Week, and we know a lot of our young, obviously as well as old, are going through that at the moment.
Yeah.
And we tend to be very proud people in terms of talking our feelings, in particular men, you know. Men tend to keep things to themselves.
They do.
So what advice would you give to somebody who's going through that now and not even recognizing that they're going through mental health issues, depression? So what advice would you give that person? Because, you know, there's a lot of stigma. Okay. So how would you, and what would you advise that person to do?
Well, first of all, I would advise them with the methods that I've found valuable, which is the writing it out. Because have you found that people are more susceptible with reading something that is there and not saying it? Some people that are frightened of saying something, they would text it or write it out. And then there's the reverse thing, that social media, they're happy to vet out some nasty texts and vicious messages, but they could never say it to your face. So there's something in writing things out, drawing things out, something to do with art that can help you open vessels that you don't even know need opening. Okay, so sometimes I take my clients somewhere. I say things like, if you wasn't here now, where would you be? Where would you like to be? Or if you was a creature, what creature would you be? And from that, if they say, oh, a lion, I know that they've got a lot of inside. So I said, okay, I'm going to have to pace that way. If someone says, I'd like to be a fish swimming in the ocean somewhere, I know that they're fairly calm, but they're erratic. They don't know where to go. And they feel like their problem is so deep. That's why they're choosing water, you know. But at the same time, they want to come to the surface. So you give them some kind of tool, but it's the answers that they give you with the trained mind and the research that you've done, a psychology or anything, that you can fingerprint and pick out the fragments and put the pieces back together for them bit by bit. So I choose art and craft to empty someone's vessel. And once the vessel is empty, totally empty, and really the only way to reach people is when they are totally empty, because if they've got any of their self left in there, they're going to be fighting you.
Yeah.
Because remember, anyone with that mental health illness, they don't like themselves very much. Their self-esteem is very low. You only start to come out of it when you have self-worth. When you have self-worth, your mindset starts to get pieced back together. When the mind starts to piece back together, it starts to look after the body. But if the mind ain't there, you ain't going to get up in the morning. You're not going to eat very well. You don't care how you look. You don't care how you dress. You don't care whether you're clean or dirty. You know, you're just trying to get from day to day.
Yeah, totally.
So
understand.
That's the type of things I would have. But I need a nugget from them first. And it comes out better in art than in speaking to begin with, because you're a stranger until you create common ground with them and they open up to you and they start saying, you know what, this person's on my level. They know what I'm saying. But with every of my clients, I always give them a personalized poem. A personalized poem that is there, that they can hold on to, that says, Jan knows who I am.
That's fantastic. Brilliant.
Awesome. There are a couple of questions on the chat.
Yes. Yeah. Do you want to read them out, Carol? They're there.
So, how old were you when you started hearing voices?
7.
Okay.
7.
Excellent.
When I knew it was voices, not just my mind. I mean, detached voices. 7.
Okay. And Michelle says she's reading your book. They never saw me.
Okay. Thank you, Michelle.
Malika says amazing. And another one from Michelle. When did you know it was the right time to start writing?
Well, I've always written. So you mean the right time to start writing my book? When I knew it was the right time to start writing my book, the main perpetrator of all my trauma, whether it was discipline at home or anything else that I went through, there was another type of trauma, which was child sex abuse. When that person in the family died, I was released from that guilt, and I said, I will be the one that stands with the family and have the justice for all of us. And it happened at this person's funeral. I stood up in the church and I said, the wages for sin is death. And then I sang, it is well with my soul.
Okay.
So all the family was there. So therefore, that message I sent out to all of the family to say, if it happened to you, I'm speaking for you and I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to release you from your guilt, from your shame, from everything else, because we are not to blame. And then I went home. I got all of the pieces that I've been storing up over the years, shoebox under the bed, and I went crazy scrambling them all together and started like a mad woman writing things down. And in the play, I've got a song that replicates that too. Very heavy song.
And any more questions? Fantastic, Jannette. Any more questions there, Carol?
No, not in the chat.
Right, okay. So we're just going to open up now for some more questions, okay, from the people on this platform. And like I said before, I it's very interactive. So I'll call out your name as I go along, and please feel free to ask a question. So Carol, have you got any questions for Jannette?
No, there is a comment's just come through actually from Dawn Miller. I was heartbroken when I read your book because I went to school with you and I thought I knew you because we were such good friends and didn't know what you were going through.
I know. You see, that's the thing about cultural silences. You see, Mother says to me, if you say anything, they will take you away. See, a family of seven of us, 6 girls, 1 boy, and we're all so close in age. So I thought, and Mum thought, if anything was said, we would be split up. Because my mum was going through cancer at the time, and my dad was a diabetic. Eventually, he ended up having a stroke. So if people knew that they weren't caring for us properly or weren't capable, and we said anything, then maybe we would be split up and taken away. So I had to keep my mouth shut. I kept my mouth shut. With everything, I kept my mouth shut.
Wow.
Dawn was an absolutely fantastic friend to me, and especially to my sister, my autistic sister. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
I didn't know anything. I'm so...
So is this... who's speaking, sorry?
That's
sorry,
Dawn.
it's me.
Dawn Miller. Yes.
I was just saying, I was so heartbroken when I read it. I mean, I read it. It's such a moving story, but it broke my heart because we were such good friends at school. We used to do so much things together. I remember when she said, "Oh, should I pierce your ears?" I said, "No." She pierced Barbara's ears, and then after Barbara was like, "Oh, that hurt." I was like, "Not piercing mine." We just done so many things together. Remember our pencil skirt when we used to rip our split and then go into the toilet and stitch it back up before we went home. All them things that we used to do, and you was going through all that, and I didn't know, and I feel like you just could have just done.
Because it was booked till 7, but it's still going on.
Yeah,
it isn't a light to go on.
No, Dawn, I'm sorry, but you know,
I don't know how to open it.
One thing about our parents
no problem.
is that they did give us that independence and resilience, you know. And by having that independence and resilience, I didn't infringe it on anybody else, you know. I mean, I was so extra at school, wasn't I, Dawn?
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
Nobody would have thought. You see, I was always a performer. Always a performer, but you see what that was? That was my external mask of armor.
Do you know what, Jannette? Now I'm older and I work with young people with mental health and I do mentoring and stuff. I can see that was your release, your
100%.
Yeah, you was just it was your armor.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Brilliant. Any more questions for Jannette?
Yes. Hi, Jannette.
Carol, yes.
Hi, Carol. My namesake is over there, Carol Edmondson. Hi. I got held up in the shop, so I was a little bit late. I apologize for that.
It's okay.
I think your story really tears me apart because, you know, what is so horrific about it all is that the fact you suffered so much in silence, and I don't know how, I can't get my head around how you coped. But we now have a big problem in Jamaica with child sex abuse. It is rampant, and I'm sure I don't know if you're Jamaican background, but over the years, it just seemed to have gone worse and worse, which is so very, very worrying. And I saw a video, I think a day or two about an American young woman who was sexually abused, I think, by the mother's boyfriend or something like that at a very young age. And she's now looking into, you know, getting awareness about, you know, what's going on, particularly in Jamaica, because don't forget, it's right across the world. But for me, having experienced that childhood trauma, how have you, like you said, you've masked a lot of it, you've gone into acting, and you've now had the ability, you know, you've had the opportunity to write a book. So obviously there was a greater purpose for you, which is, thank God, is man. But there are those who are so lost and are worn out at this moment and don't know where to. What would you say? Because it's such, like you said, in families where, you know, the pressure seems to be on the child to protect everybody else.
Yes. 100% bulletproof points. the child feels responsible to protect the adults, and the adults should be protecting the child. That's the cultural silences that I've been trying to break, and it's in the Asian as well as the Black nations. And when I reach out to my people, it takes a long time for them to open up, like I said, and I do use art and craft. And sometimes I just sing, hold them and sing to them, you know? And that is why my second book is called I Don't Know Who I Am. And if I may share a song with you to describe and kind of things that I sing with people, they just come out of me. But there's reasons why I use those titles for my book. And like I said, the second book is called I Don't Know Who I Am. So I'll sing this.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. I don't know who I am. I look in the mirror and I see a stranger. I don't know who I am. The image I see is not really me. The girl in there, she's a fraud. The people like to applaud. If they only knew what I'm going through, 'cause I fight from within to get out from her skin. But she's stronger than I am and fights like a lion. Then I look into her face and I see that there is grace, and there's something in her eyes. I see that she is wise. Yes, there's something familiar. I know we are similar, yet I don't know who I am. I don't know who I am. I don't know who I am.
That is
standing ovation.
Fantastic.
I've actually got in.
Fantastic.
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
That is awesome, and I look forward to the film.
Very beautiful.
Yeah, you've got such a beautiful voice.
I think we'll be seeing you on our TV screens very soon.
Yeah.
You know, imagine there's a client there trying to say, well, I don't know, and I'm holding them and I sing that. Do you see that they would then open?
Yes,
There'd be
of course.
silence. So sometimes the art can just do that. I mean, I sing opera, I sing jazz and blues, I sing rock. Depending on the person, I create that common ground of the kind of music or the flow or the feeling that would relate to them, resonate with them, and just break open that vessel. And I will catch that water, that stagnant water that they're swimming in, and I will take them over to the other side.
Brilliant.
I think you need to be in Jamaica, you know, because I think they're lacking the skills. I think they lack skills over there. They lack resources and obviously education. And there is one of the reggae artists, and I can't remember her name now, for some while ago, she's been trying to highlight, you know, the sexual abuse case and incest that is, because, you know, just listening to the trauma that you went through, and like I said, there must be a purpose for you to have survived all of that, and you're at the same time being gifted with this blessing of voice and talent, and, you know, and it's just, that's very heartwarming and to be applauded, and I'm sure, you know, we'll be able to see that, you know, where you continue to flower and we can get more help to those children who are suffering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's my aim, and that's what I do. I mean, I do. I purposely chose to do bespoke one-to-one care with no age barrier, you know, because there was no age barrier for me. I mean, I've gone through it as an infant, you know, a child, teenager, adult, because I went from that, not having no comparison, into a very abusive, narcissistic relationship with a man. Right, where I lost one of my twin babies because of all the fighting and the drugs and all sorts of stuff, you know. So there's different phases that I've gone through, so I can meet the demand of any age group. You know? And so therefore I try to develop different arts within myself. I can meet them halfway. I mean, the songs I sing with my elderly ones are like Vera Lynn and things like that, because they can relate to that. And that's how I start there. So anything, I'll use anything.
Yes, like I said, women of many talents. Thanks for joining us, Ricky. Have you got any questions for Jannette? By the way, Ricky was meant to be hosting this with myself. Anyway.
Sorry, guys, can I just say, I'm sorry, I've got the time totally wrong. I for some reason, I had it in my head for 7 o'clock. No, and I just went to give some food to some of the our clients in the supported accommodation. Come back at 7 o'clock and it was the time. I realised it was supposed to be an hour earlier. Sorry about that.
Yeah, not to worry, not to worry. You know, but thank you for joining us now anyway.
Can I just say something? Ricky, at least you managed to log on.
That's it. Eventually.
No, we have problems. Me and Ricky, I work with Ricky, and we have horrendous problems with Teams. So Zoom is obviously the way to go.
It's a lot easier. Yeah, I've got no problems with Zoom, but no doubt the other people within our group can actually enlighten us to other streams as well. Right, okay. Well, if there's no more questions, any more questions at all for Jannette? Oh, Carol.
Dawn, good to see you on. Dawn wanted to know if you write that last song, Don't Know Who I Am.
Yeah, all my material.
I'm sure you did.
Yeah, all of it. There's nothing I've taken from anywhere apart from tunes, because I use bars of tunes that are familiar so that people can come into the tune but hear my words. But they're always all my words.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, well, I'd like to say thank you very much, Jannette. Not only are you an inspiration to myself, although I don't verbalize it often, but I know you are an inspiration to many. And I'm so happy that you are part of the BAME organization.
Me too.
You know, we'll grow together. And I'm hoping that, you know, whoever's not part of the organization, you know, they can actually get in touch. And then we can actually let them know how to go about doing that. So again, can we applaud Jannette? She did a good job. And thank you very much.
And can I say also, re-membership, wanting to know more about BAME. Dee was asking, and I've put the website address where you can find the information.
Thank you,
so
Dee.
www.bamebusiness.club.
Yeah, and what I'll do, at the end, I'll give out that information as well, Carol. Now, before anybody goes, just to let you know, next week we have another event similar to this, and Carol Edmondson, she will be our guest speaker next week. Okay, so I'm expecting to see you all there, and to think of any questions you'd like to ask Carol next week. But Carol, can you give us a brief of what to expect?
Well, how can I follow Jannette? Come on.
Oh, you can.
So my take on next week is going to be very much from sharing my story and talking about natural health, how health affected me and why I got into doing what I'm doing, and also looking at health from a two-pronged approach. You know, we look after, Jannette talked about our mental health, we've got our spiritual health, we've got our emotional health. and we've got our physical health. So bringing the lot together, it's looking at how our financial health has a bearing on our physical health and marrying the two together. So
fantastic.
Yes, I've done public speaking, and that's normally the ethos of what I speak about because it comes from the heart. Health is something that resonates with me.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to it personally, and I'm hoping that everybody else can tune in, you know, and listen to what you have to say. Okay, now I'll give you some brief details about how to get in touch and get involved. But then, just like what Jannette said, we have got a website, so the information's on there. If you want to email for further information, our email address is baim.networking@gmail.com. That's our email address. If you just want to ask any just random questions. If you want to check out the website, you'd be very much impressed. It's baim@business.club. Okay.
No, Bain Business.
So sorry, baimbusiness.club. So that's our website there. If you want to find out about how to join us in terms of becoming a member, Bill Brown is the vice chair, and you can contact Bill Brown on 07 906 994 192. Myself, if you've got any other queries and you want to speak to me personally about Bain or anything else, again, my name is Jennifer, and my contact number is 07 548 806 862. Okay. If you want to check in and look at our WhatsApp group, we have got a general WhatsApp group that covers all areas. Okay, very interesting. A lot of topic is on the COVID, you can imagine, but it's very interesting. We've also got a business group, but that's only for paid members. So the sooner that you pay, then obviously we can get you onto the business group. We've also got a Facebook page. It's called BAME Business and Community Organization. So just search in the search engine and you'll find us there. So that's our contact details. Before I go, any questions for myself or anybody else?
It was amazing.
You enjoyed it?
Yes, very nice. Thank you. Thank you, Jannette.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you also.
And hopefully we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you. Thank you all.
No problem.
Can
Yes.
Can I just say, I'm sorry I missed it. I couldn't get on. I thought I was early because I thought it started at 7. So I came in at 22 thinking, oh, I'm really early. I'll be here waiting, and you'd already started because it started at 6. So
not to worry. I think next week is it next week 6 o'clock? Is that right, Carol?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yes, 6 o'clock next week. But we don't tend to rush on these things because we've got extended, so you can be here till 12 talking about any other business. if you like, you know. But I appreciate and thank you very much for tuning in. Okay.
Thank you.
And you enjoy the rest of the Saturday. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye. Lovely.
Bye.
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 Bye, everyone.
Bye, Jannette.
Bye, Shell. Bye, Shell. Bye, Carol. Bye, Jenny.
Bye, Carol. Bye, Carol. Bye, Jannette. Bye, Jenny.
Bye, Carol.